What's going on? If you clicked on this video, it's for one reason and one reason only, and it's because your foot hurts and ideally you want it feeling better as soon as possible. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Today I'm going to try to provide you with all the information and help that you might need to try and treat your foot pain by yourself at home. Plantar fasciitis or plantar fasciosis. These are currently two terms that are being used to describe more or less the same thing, pain and irritation along the bottom of the foot. This pain is oftentimes most prominent first thing in the morning when getting out of bed or when doing something like walking around barefoot. In the early stages of this pain, it will remain painful first thing in the morning, but you can normally get to the point where it's feeling pretty loose. But if you let this pain progress and you don't do anything about it, it can oftentimes turn into something that is now painful all of the time, and the pain goes from that spot right in the heel to spreading out more so throughout the entire foot. My favorite way to start to reduce the symptoms associated with plantar fasciitis is by acquiring a lacrosse ball. When you type in lacrosse ball, a lot of other things pop up that include the word soft tissue mobilization or something like that. But take me at my word, there is nothing more effective than the real thing. All you're gonna do is take this ball and place your foot over it, and then with nothing more than the weight of your leg, you're just gonna start by searching around for some tight spots. You'll likely find them mostly in the ball of the foot, kind of like right around here, but you really wanna let the tight spots and the discomfort kind of guide you. This should be a pretty intuitive experience where if you're rolling out and you feel a little tight spot, you kind of just focus there until it starts to feel a little better, and then you just move on. If the bottom of your foot feels really sore or bruised or painful after doing this, you probably either did it for too long or you were pushing your foot too hard into the ball when you were doing it. Now that the foot is feeling a little bit better, it's time to do other things like improve flexibility. The main place that we're going to work on improving that flexibility is in your calf, and two muscles in particular, one being your gastrocnemius, which is your slightly bigger calf muscle a little higher up, the second being your soleus, which is the second major muscle in your calf that is a little bit lower and a little bit smaller. You can stretch both of those muscles in a stagger stance just like this. The main thing that you're going to want to focus on is keeping your back heel glued to the ground and your back knee completely straight the entire time. As long as you're doing those two things, all you're going to do is lean in just like this, and if you're keeping that back knee straight and your heel on the ground, you should start to feel a nice gentle stretch in the back of the calf. Once you feel that stretch, you're going to go ahead and hold for about 20 to 30 seconds, and you can do that 3 times on each side, but you want to focus on doing the same thing you were doing with the ball, meaning that you want to keep it fairly gentle and you want to make sure that when you're done with the stretches, you're feeling better and looser afterwards. This first stretch where you keep this back knee completely straight is a stretch for the gastrocnemius. So now that you've done that 3 times on each side, it's time to stretch the soleus. You're going to do that by getting into the same position, but this time once you feel a gentle stretch in that back calf, what you're going to do is bend that back knee forward, and ideally you should feel that stretch shift to lower down towards your Achilles tendon. This stretch is also a little bit easier to overdo, so however gentle you are going with that first stretch, make sure you go a little bit more gentle with this one. But once you feel that stretching sensation, same thing, you're going to hold about 20 seconds and do 2 to 3 on each side. So now you have a strategy to start to reduce symptoms and a strategy to start to improve flexibility. Now it's time to talk about the thing that will make the most difference overall, which is building strength. We're going to focus on building strength in 3 different spots. One being the muscles in the bottom of the foot, the same place where we rolled out with the lacrosse ball. The other being increasing strength in the muscles in the back of the calf, or the same places that we just worked on improving flexibility. And the third and final place that we're going to increase strength is with the muscles in front of the shin, which is one place we actually haven't touched on so far. The amount of exercises that you could be doing are quite literally endless. But in order to keep this fairly simple and in order to put together a program that doesn't seem super intimidating and one that you can do, I'm only going to show you a few. The first exercise for the bottom of your foot, you're just going to put a towel on the ground. The goal is to take your foot and use your toes to scrunch up the towel and ball it up. All I'm doing is taking my toes and trying to scrunch up that towel in a way where I really feel like the bottom of my foot is doing a lot of the work. We're going to pretend that each time I scrunch up my foot is 1 repetition. So this would be 1, 2, 3, and so on. And in terms of this program, we're going to do this for 3 sets of 15. This second foot exercise can be really tough to learn and can take a lot of practice. So if you don't get this one right away, don't be discouraged and just continue to work at it. It's called the short foot exercise. The goal is to try to make this movement while also keeping the toes nice and relaxed. So you know that the only thing that you could be using are these muscles right here located in the arch of your foot. If you struggle to do it with the toes relaxed at first, don't worry. You can use those toes to kind of like drive into the the ground and get used to the movement. And as you get better at that movement, you can try to keep the toes relaxed and scrunch up the foot just like this. Whatever level of the exercise you can currently do, you're gonna go ahead and repeat that for 3 sets of 10. To strengthen the calves, all you're gonna do is hold on to something steady and keep your feet about shoulder width apart. From there, you're gonna rise up onto your toes, and at the very top, when you can't go any higher, you're gonna transfer all of your weight to one side and then take 5 seconds to slowly lower your heel to the ground. Going up on both, but then lowering on only the one allows all of these muscles to work in a way that you probably haven't been working them before. For the final exercise in this program, you're going to be leaning with your back against the wall, with your feet out in front of you and your knees locked completely straight. The goal is to keep your heels into the ground while you bring your toes up off of them about as far as you feel like you can control. You should probably only be able to get through about 4 or 5 of these before you really feel like those shin muscles are really fatigued and turned on. But with this exercise, along with the calf exercise, the goal is to do about 3 sets of 10. For the ball rolling and the stretches, it's probably a good idea to do those multiple times a day, but for the exercises, just focus on doing those 1 time per day. I have seen a template like this work time and time again for something like plantar fasciitis, but if you go through about a week of doing stuff like this and you're being honest about how consistent you're being, then it's time to go in and see a professional. Once you're in a physical therapy clinic, we get a chance to talk to you and get a better feel for what's going on, and then also spend a full hour dedicated to finding out the true source of your pain. But all that being said, hopefully this one simple video can maybe save you the trip. If this program works for you, or even if it doesn't but you really like the way I made this video, please show some support and like and subscribe. I'm also fairly new to YouTube, but I plan to hopefully make a lot more of these, so if you have any feedback or video ideas or anything in between, please leave it in the comment section. Other than that, thanks for watching and keep a lookout for more videos in the future.